this is where we have the unfinished business. Well, good morning. I'm close to Skarrett Reservoir, parked at the, not the main car park, but the second car park for Skarrett Reservoir. The reservoir's just over there. And today might be a bit special actually. I didn't know about this until last night, but there is supposed to be a partial solar eclipse this morning, which will be interesting. I've never been out walking in the Peak District when there's been an eclipse before, so we'll see what that's like. Today we'll be headed somewhere pretty special, quite a remote spot I've been to before, but I took a completely different route to get there. And we're also on the way be having another attempt to locate something that I previously looked for and couldn't find. I'm following the Porter or Little Don River. This is a path, but it's got to be one of the less used paths in the Peak District. This is a route I've done quite a few times before. In fact, one of the very first videos on this channel is me walking along here. This here is Mickleden Beck. The cut gate path runs up the side. It's a very popular walk. It's a great route, great views. I've always wanted to actually go up the beck itself. Never done that. Something on my to-do list. But we are headed this way, continuing to follow the Porter or Little Don Valley along this way. This is the point where Mickleden Beck and the Porter converge, and we'll be going this way. So we've got a couple of hours or so until the partial solar eclipse. It is quite cloudy, so I don't know how much of it we'll actually get to see. I don't have any kind of anything to protect my eyes looking at it directly anyway. But it'll be interesting to see what happens when it suddenly gets dark or darker. Of course, a partial solar eclipse is the second coolest type of eclipse to experience whilst out walking. The coolest type of eclipse being the total eclipse of the heart. Some of these tiny little side cloughs coming down off Bleaklow look interesting. I don't know whether they would be worth exploring. Got some tiny little waterfalls, but not much. My previous video along here, I think, was filmed in January last year, and it was a very cold day. There was lots of icicles and ice all long, and yeah, it was pretty impressive to see all that ice on the river. That wind's getting up, so hopefully you can hear me. This is one of the more interesting features along here. It's a very old sheepfold, but what's significant about this is it's castellated, and there's like a little sheep dip in front of it. So now you can start to get an idea of where we're headed. It's not looking good for the partial solar eclipse. It's got very cloudy. That wind has really picked up and it's really cold. I'm starting to regret not bringing my jacket with me. The weather forecast for today was not too bad for this morning. Potential rain later on this afternoon, but somewhere like this, who knows? You can literally get anything. Medic! It's actually pretty cool. So I'm now at one of those spots which, you know, if you know about, you know about. If you do know this spot, it's pretty iconic. So we are at the bottom of the Cat Cloughs, and there is a trail that goes up, and there's a little footbridge you can cross. If you go up, it pretty much takes you out just above the Crow Stones. Now, I haven't decided on the route back yet. Coming back that way is a possibility. So there's a few interesting features around here. This is one of them. Not sure if that's natural or whether it marks a burial cairn of some kind. It may well do, but it's not marked on the map as being one, but it could well be. Yeah, it could be the remnants of a barrow. Here we have another interesting feature for this area. We have this old sheepfold, not as interesting as the castellated one and not as in good condition, but unlike that one, this one we can actually get to and get inside. Right then, so some of you may recognize this from a fairly recent walk. I have unfinished business here. This here is the bottom of Loft Shore Clough. You've got Wicken Hill just there. This is Laund Clough. And yeah, a few months ago, December, possibly December, I came here I came here via a completely different direction. I came from over there, and I actually got to Lornclough by coming down that track there. But yes, I came looking for something. That walk was all about ancient history, all about discovering some, or trying to locate some old artifacts, historical artifacts. I found some, I didn't find others. Some I didn't find because I'm pretty sure they're just not there anymore. But there was one thing that I know is there, and I just couldn't locate it. So I'm back for a second attempt, and hopefully this time I'll find it. This is looking back the way we came. Here we have the bottom of Loftshore Clough and Wicken Hill there. So last time I was in this area, the last time I was on Lornclough, I was in Loftshore Clough, but further on up. And this bottom bit, this lower part, I didn't visit on that particular walk, but I have been up Wicken Hill and gone up this stretch, and I think it is probably the best bit of Loftshore Clough. It's just quite small, it's very dramatic. You can't really see or tell that much from this perspective, but it is pretty impressive. But this is Lornclough, and this is where we have the unfinished business. Wish me luck. So I think it's somewhere over here. According to the information I have, I am now very, very close. I am reliably informed it's very difficult to find it, even when you know. Oh, what's this? No. Yeah, I'm reliably informed even when you know where it is, it's not easy to find. Nope. You know what, I have memories of checking these out, the exact same rocks before. I've already scoured this area, but I'm going to scour it again. Look what I found! I'm so happy. And you know what, I just don't understand. I do not understand how I missed this last time. I was right here. I don't know where I went wrong. This is bizarre, but here we go. Here it is, clear as daylight, the Skarrett stone. So I'd like to thank Andy from Dark Peak and Beyond. I reached out to Andy because I knew that he'd visited here. And I know it took him a while to find this spot, but he did find it. So I reached out to Andy, and Andy kindly gave me the coordinates, but said, you know, even with the coordinates, it's quite difficult to locate. So thank you so much, Andy. If you haven't checked out his channel, it is fantastic. I mean, Andy is one of the OGs when it comes to off-piste exploring in the Peak District. But I just can't understand how I didn't find this last time I was here. I mean, I'm going to have to go back and watch that video, because I was literally following this along, and I know that I took a look at some of those rocks, but how did I miss this? I don't understand. But anyway, I found it. I'm very happy. So I talked about the Skarrett stone in my previous video when I came looking for it last time. But basically this is believed to be the spot where one of two brothers, and we're not sure which one it was, always would come and have a rest and have a drink of whiskey whilst out grouse shooting. And what we also know about this person is that they were afraid, really scared of the fog. Other than that, we don't know very much. But there is some information I found online. I put the link in the previous video. I'll put the link in the video description for this video as well, and you can read all about the Skarrett family. Someone's done a lot of research, and there is some information about this location as well. I'm going to have to go back and re-watch that video to try and find out where or how I went wrong. But what I suspect is that I was coming along here and I saw that and went up to investigate that. And then there's a couple of other rocks just beyond that. So I probably went on to investigate those and then somehow missed this. But it's literally right there. So if I kept walking straight, I would have found it. I would have literally walked over it. So yeah, I definitely remember checking this one out and this one. And I think coming up to check these two rocks out resulted in me missing the Skarrett stone itself, which is right there. I'm not sure how much longer we've got before the partial eclipse. I've come back to this track that goes up the side of Lawn Clough. Last time I was here, I was searching for the Skarrett stone, and I went way beyond where it is before realizing I'd definitely gone too far, and coming back down this track. This time I'm going to follow this track all the way up. I think it does kind of veer off to the left at some point. I think there might be some grouse butts, but that's a section I've not walked before. I can't look at the sun, but I can point my camera at it. I think we're quite close to when the partial eclipse is supposed to be. I've no idea whether you can see it right now. Is it starting or not? I'm getting very close to the top of this track. It's been a decent track to walk along, but this is pretty much the top and the end of it, and it's just become a bog fest. But I think this is where it comes to an end, and then you've got grouse butts, a line of grouse butts going over that way, which I'm going to follow, and eventually get to another very iconic, very rarely visited, difficult to get to, a feature in the Peak District. I've reached the point where the track goes up. I've not been as far along here as this before. This is a hard slog. No sign of any grouse butts. Just a few posts. And I've actually found my first grouse butt. Looks quite new. It definitely should have started by now. As I climb up, it's getting windier and windier. Next time I stop and take my bag off, I'm going to get the external microphone out. Hopefully that'll make a small difference. But where I'm going to is pretty windy at the best of the time. So today, God knows what it's going to be like today. Oh wow, so I'm topping out now. And the views on the other side are starting to come into sight. Oh, look at that. And I can see where I'm headed for. This part of the Peak District is notoriously remote, difficult to access, and very boggy. There's no trail to get to where I want to get to. Progress is very slow because you can't walk in a straight line because of things like this, so you just have to do the best you can. So it's been out of view for a little bit just because I was lower down, but here it is. And the route I took did quite a good job of getting me where I want to be. I didn't look at the map at all for that. I've just deliberately come off route to look at these views because look at this. I strongly suspect a lot of the rock features around here were of use to ancient man utilize these, but look at these views. So how much of this is natural and how much of this is made by people is open to debates, but even if they can make it, I'm sure the ancient humans used this location. I'm sure it was very significant to them. And as well as the Horse Stone, there's at least one other really cool feature I want to show you. Natural or human? Some great views over towards the Rocking Stone, the Horse Stones. This is the Horse Stone, quite a famous place in the Peak District, but quite difficult to get to. I'm the only one here today. It's a Saturday. Last time I came here, I came from the other way. I came up that way, which was a bit of a scramble. Unfortunately, the sun has gone behind those clouds, so who knows what's going on with the partial eclipse. Okay, well, I've got the external microphone plugged in. It hopefully will make a little bit of difference, probably not a great deal. Last time I was here, I found a really cool spot which I want to revisit. Now, considering the amount of water that's surrounding the Horse Stone, this other spot may be underwater. I may not be able to get inside, but I'm going to try and find it again. I am going to go to Horse Stone Naze, which is just there. There are some other rocks and some good views, but it is going to be incredibly windy there. So I think I'm probably going to leave my bag and my poles whilst I just wander around. It would be really cool to have the partial eclipse in shots, but I can't see that there is a partial eclipse. So here we are, this is Horse Stone Naze. Spectacular views in all directions. Last time I visited the Horse Stone, I just came up directly from over there. That was a tough climb. This sheep seems quite interested in me. Natural or man-made? Ladies and gentlemen, Horse Stone Naze. Which I may be blown off from. I'm going to collect my bag and try and find the spot I found last time, which is really cool and should offer some protection from the wind, but as I mentioned, there is a chance it's not going to be usable because it might be underwater. This is the other spot I wanted to show you. Now, is this natural? I'm not convinced it's natural. I think this is made by people. Look at it. Hopefully there's a bit of shelter in there. It's not full of water, which is what I was worried about. But look at the views from here. And And there's the Horse Stone just there. Well, it's not as sheltered from the wind as I had hoped in here. The wind's cutting right through, in fact. I love this spot, and I really don't know what this is. I'm intrigued by it though. So I'm going to find somewhere here to have my lunch. Crazy, I can't actually find anywhere out the wind. Okay, I don't know if you can hear me or not. I really can't tell by looking at my camera, my phone screen, whether or not there's a partial eclipse. Doesn't look like one, which is a pity because it would have been incredible to get some shots of that from this location. Anyway, it is very exposed here, even amongst the rocks it's very exposed. This here is Stainery Clough, and last time I came up to Horse Stone Naze, as I say, I came up the really challenging steep way up Horse Stone Naze from that direction, from the direction of the River Derwent Valley, and then I went down Stainery Clough, which was tough going. What I'm going to do today is head back more or less the way I came in, get back to the path, if you want to call it a path, the outer edge path, and it's extremely boggy, and then take the near Cat Clough route back. But yeah, it's very exposed, very windy, and I'm quite cold, so I need to warm up. And also it's clouding over. There was in the forecast, it did talk about the possibility of some rain this afternoon, so I could do with making a bit of progress. Just a little hint of reservoir coming into view. It's Howden Reservoir. I should be coming up to the outer edge path fairly soon. Not that it'll make much difference. So I found it. This is the path. I'm just going to follow it for a very short distance until we get level with Far Cat Clough and near Cat Clough, and then we'll I don't know how clear that's going to be. Maybe I need to expand it, but there's a nice side-on view there of the rocking stone. This long, narrow peat bog is otherwise known as the outer edge path. I'm pretty much level with the cat cloughs now. I've only ever come up that path, I've never gone down it, so I can't remember exactly what point or how obvious it is. I don't think it's very obvious where you need to turn off, so I'm just going to head off here. I can see something, although it might just be might be just bog. I think it is just bog. It doesn't matter if I have to go off piste. I've definitely come off the path too soon, but what I remembered was the when you're coming up from the cat cloughs, the path gets really faint, and I don't think it's obvious walking along the path where the turn off is. But anyway, I'm more or less headed in the right direction, just a more interesting way. I finally intersected with the track that goes down to the cat cloughs. I was way too early turning off, because this path actually goes it curves around and it goes all the way this way, whereas I came off somewhere over there, and I've been cutting across diagonally, and it's been pretty tough because I've been crossing things like this, which is actually the top of one of the cat cloughs. But anyway, it was fun. The only things I remember about this path is obviously the bridge right at the very bottom. I remember being slightly disappointed that the track that you follow isn't actually in the clough, it's alongside the clough. And I also remember being slightly disappointed that the clough was very shallow and not that interesting. So I remember that about the bottom section, and then the top section, the only thing I really remember is the point where you get up above that rise over there, and suddenly the crow stones come into view in the distance, pretty much directly in front of you. That's an awesome sight when that comes into view. As you can see, it really doesn't make much difference whether you go off piste or you follow the path. In fact, off piste might be less boggy. It's a longer path than I remember. Okay, so I've been sat here having a bit of a rest, had a drink. I'll be taking a different route back. I'm now walking along a track along the upper side of the Porter or Little Don Valley that I walked along this morning. We could go that way, but we're not going to. We're going to keep going straight. Just coming up to the end of the walk now. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm so happy to have finally found the Skarrett stone. Thank you again to Andy at Dark Peak and Beyond for helping me out with the coordinates. I mean, the only mystery is really how I missed it first time. I really don't know, but it was great to find it. It was great to get back to Horse Stone and Horse Stone Naze, and also to see that other weird rock formation that may or may not be natural. I don't think it is. It's been a good walk. It's been quite tough walking. It's been very difficult in the wind as well, especially at Horse Stone and Horse Stone Naze. But yeah, it's been a good one. I'll see you next time.